Let's talk about Eamon, a one-hit wonder from the early 2000s who made it big with his chart-topping single, F It, I Don't Want You Back. He had all the skills to make it big in the music industry, but unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. His second album was not promoted well and flopped. After 8 years, he signed a new deal, but he became the victim of a scandal and his album was never released. He couldn't release any new music until around 2017, almost 15 years after his debut single. At this point, it was too late for him to recover his early success, so he had to start from scratch. The man had the potential to be one of the biggest stars of the 2000s, but he faded into obscurity instead. But let's take a look at his career. What up guys, Ali here and welcome to Ali Talks Music. Add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music as well. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now let's get into the video. Eamon was born around 1983 in Staten Island, New York. He was born into a family of musicians. His father was a member of a successful doo-wop group, The Elations. By around the age of 9, Eamon was already performing with the Elations, gaining experience in front of massive crowds. At 15, he landed a job at a recording studio where he caught the attention of music executive Nat Robinson. Nat introduced Eamon to writer/producer Milk D, who recognized his potential and began working with him alongside co-producer Mark Passy. Together, they made a demo that included the famous song It, I Don't Want You Back, which Eamon wrote at the age of 17.
I Don't Want You Back came from, I was with this girl, and people were telling me that, she's doing these things to me, doing that, and I wasn't believing it. So I went home, it was like 3, 4 in the morning, got on the keyboard, started playing some chords, and I came up with the words, it just came out of me.
The song was way ahead of his time, blending ballad-like melodies with tons of swearing and aggression. Despite being shipped to 22 different labels, the song was rejected by all of them. After being rejected by 22 labels, Eamon decided to take matters into his own hands and sent his song Fuck It to a DJ at Hot 97. The song gained airtime and caught the attention of Jive Records, who quickly signed Eamon to their label. Eamon called his genre ho-wop and began working on his major label debut. Jive officially released Fuck It around 2003 and prepared Eamon's album for a release around 2004. The single became an international hit, topping the charts in 17 countries outside of the US and eventually going gold after making it to number 16 on the Hot 100. Around 2004, this was the most played song on the radio worldwide, beating out major hits from Usher, Evanescence, and Maroon 5. And just when things were looking up, Eamon found himself in the middle of a beef with fellow R&B singer Frankie after releasing his hit single Fuck It, I Don't Want You Back.
I'm not a girl hater. The song's about one girl, specifically about one girl.
Frankie responded with her own version called Fuck You Right Back, claiming to be the ex-girlfriend the song was written about. The song even hit the charts and was even speculated to be a marketing ploy, but Eamon denied that Frankie was ever his girlfriend and claimed Frankie was making everything up. This is what he had to say on the matter. There was a big tryout, and I actually know some of the girls who wanted to do the song, but I haven't met Frankie in my life. I think it's corny to death, but it's funny. I was not involved with Fuck You Right Back, and Frankie is definitely not my girlfriend or ex-girlfriend. Now, as mentioned earlier, when Fuck You Right Back came out, most people thought it was a publicity stunt. However, Frankie denied these rumors and claimed that she was definitely Eamon's ex, and she recorded her song after hearing Eamon's version. The only way I was associated with her song was when I was asked for licensing permission by Frankie's representatives, which made me a writer on her song by copyright law. They are having fun, it's cool. But in the end, they are paying me for their 15 minutes of fame, and I welcome her to my world of ho-wop. I never knew she was going to say she was my ex-girlfriend. It's the funniest thing because even my aunt called me up and said, "Is this really your ex-girlfriend?" It's all good though. Every time it gets played, I get paid. Eamon's debut album I Don't Want You Back came out around Valentine's Day of 2004 to international success. It hit number 7 on the Billboard 200. And while the album did well commercially, a lot of people thought that it had too many filler tracks. Eamon's follow-up single I Love Them Hoes came out around 2004, but missed the charts entirely in the US. This marked the beginning of the end of Eamon's career, even though the song earned a music video and a remix featuring Ghostface Killah. Eamon's second album, Love and Pain, came out around December of 2006, 2.5 years after his debut. However, unlike his first album, Love and Pain was a complete flop and received no promotion from Jive Records. The album's sole single, How Could You Bring Him Home, missed the charts entirely. As a result of the album's poor performance, Eamon and Jive eventually parted ways around 2008. The only problem was, Eamon was not allowed to sign another record deal for about 18 months after the contract ended. According to the man, this is how it went down. There was a major internal problems between my production company, who I was signed to, and the label, which eventually led to the label completely giving up on promoting the record and leaving me stuck in the middle of a disaster. But it is what it is. The sad part is many people who were fans of my first album don't even know the second one dropped. But the people who did get to hear it really loved it, so I'm grateful for that. That brings us all the way to 2010, 6 years after the boy dropped his one hit. He moved to LA to work on his songwriting skills and work with new beatmakers. This led to a $1 million 2-album deal with independent record label SMC Entertainment around 2011. And around this time he began working on his third album. However, almost immediately, SMC failed to fulfill their contractual obligations, going delinquent on payments for musicians, studio costs, and advances. Despite this setback, Eamon was determined to continue working on his album, which he had been working on for almost 6 years. By around 2012, SMC Entertainment faced legal action as the company's financial backer, David Levy, was arrested for stock fraud. This was a massive setback for Eamon and his career. This is what he had to say on the matter. Well, I'll keep it simple instead of going into a long story. After finally getting out of all previous contracts in 2010, I signed a huge deal with SMC. Halfway through recording the first album under contract, I found out the CEO was facing serious time for stock fraud. The company went broke, but still wouldn't let me out of my contract, and a few years later, mid-2014, after lots of negotiations, I was finally released. It was a horrible time in my life, but it taught me patience and powerlessness. Around 2012, Eamon finished his third album, but was unable to release it due to his contract with SMC Entertainment. This was a huge setback for Eamon, as he was unable to perform or release new music. To keep his name in circulation, he collaborated with R.A. the Rugged Man on 2 tracks from the latter's 2013 album, Legends Never Die.
What's up everyone, it's Eamon. Welcome to my new YouTube channel. You might know me from such hits as Love Them Hoes, Love Them Hoes, How Could You Bring Them Home, Fuck You, You Ho, I Don't Want You Back. Just got out of a long contract, I'm finally a free man, and I'm going to be updating this page with new songs, some dope covers. Click below to subscribe and check me out. Woohoo! Peace.
Eamon was finally released from his contract around 2014, but by then, his career was beyond salvaging. 10 whole years had passed since Fuck It, I Don't Want You Back, and he only released one semi-successful album, a second album that flopped, and one completely shelved album. Despite this, Eamon kept working. Around 2015, Eamon appeared on 2 songs from Jedi Mind Tricks' album number 8. He also appeared on other projects, and around 2017, more than a decade after his second album, he released his third, technically 4th album, Golden Rail Motel, to the excitement of his former teen fans, now middle-aged. The album got a lot of favorable reviews. However, neither the third album or its 3 singles made it to the charts, making Eamon a one-hit wonder indefinitely. Since then, he has dropped a string of singles. Around 2018, he dropped You and You Only and Greatest Mistake, while 2019 followed with 3 singles, namely Born and Bred, Running Around, and Step by Step. He also did work with Ghostface Killah and dropped a 7-track EP called Captive Thoughts. Now, even though Eamon has not been relevant for more than a decade, his breakup anthem is still popular, so popular in fact that Cardi B even sang it for social media. In recent years, his music has been featured in various shows and movies. He also has 2 daughters and was married around 2016. Eamon also became a devout Christian. He recently announced a Christmas album.
What's going on, everyone? So, I want to just let you know what's up about something. I have a Christmas album that I've been sitting on for like 18 months. And it is something extremely special. It was supposed to come out this year, 2022. But something fell through and it didn't come out, obviously. So next year, 2023, I want to put this album out, even if I have to myself.
And has just shy of 1 million monthly listeners on Spotify. On the platform, his most listened to songs are Fuck It, Show Business, Come On Through, Bring Him Home, and on and on. That's it for me, it's your boy Ali. What happened to Eamon in your opinion? Let me know it down below. Video requests, always taking those. Also add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music. Till next time, peace.
Perfect.